Forget everything you thought you knew about your student loans. Your world just got flipped upside down. The federal government just slammed the door shut on easy loan forgiveness and borrowing, hitting millions of Americans right in the wallet. And trust me, the biggest shocker, the one that could cost you thousands, is coming at the very end of this video. You don't want to miss that. President Trump just signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law. This isn't some small change. It's a massive overhaul of student loans and higher education that aims to save taxpayers over $300 billion. The bill kicks out the old, complex student loan payment plans, including Biden's popular SAVE plan. Say goodbye to that. Starting July 2026, if you're a new federal student loan borrower, you only get two choices. The fixed payment plan, this is like a regular mortgage. Your monthly payment is set based on how much you owe, and you'll be paying for 10 to 25 years. Longer payment means smaller monthly bills, but you'll pay a lot more in interest over time. For example, a $40,000 loan, instead of paying it off in 10 years and racking up about $14,500 in interest, you might now pay it for 15 years and end up with over $22,800 in interest. That's a huge difference. Or the repayment assistance plan, or RAP. This is the new income-based plan. Instead of those old complicated formulas, you'll pay between 1 and 10% of your income. The amount goes up with your income. The good news? Any unpaid interest gets waived, so your loan balance won't balloon if your payment is too low. Plus, there's a new $50 monthly payment towards your loan's principal that the government will cover if your payment doesn't reach it. However, RAP payments stretch out for a brutal 30 years before any remaining balance is forgiven. That's 5 to 10 years longer than previous plans. Imagine paying off student loans until you're in your 50s. Current borrowers, you have until July 2028 to pick a new plan, or you'll automatically get shoved into RAP. This is going to mean higher monthly payments and longer repayment periods for millions. Experts predict the typical borrower on the old SAVE plan could pay almost $3,000 more per year under RAP. But that's not the only way your loans are getting squeezed. Wait till you hear about the new borrowing limits coming up next. The Big Beautiful Bill is putting strict new limits on how much you can borrow. This is a game changer, especially if you're planning on grad school or borrowing for your kids. Here's the deal on the new federal loan caps starting July 2026. For graduate students, if you're going for a master's degree, you're capped at about $20,000 per year with a total lifetime limit of $100,000. For reference, a master's degree often costs between $45,000 and $71,000. This means you'll be short. The old Grad Plus loans, which covered the full cost, are gone. For professional students, like doctors and lawyers, you can borrow up to $50,000 per year, but only $200,000 total for your entire program. Consider this. A law degree averages over $200,000, and medical school can hit around $230,000. You'll be way short. Nearly 60% of dentistry students and almost 30% of medical students borrowed more than these new limits back in 2020. What does this mean? It means huge growth for private loan companies. If federal loans aren't enough, you'll be forced to private lenders, who often have higher interest rates and almost no consumer protections. And here's a massive catch. They are not eligible for federal forgiveness programs like PSLF. Experts predict these changes could severely limit who can access high-cost professional programs, like medical school, at a time when America is facing a doctor shortage. It could also mean you end up with debt but no degree, which is a huge risk for default. Plus, say goodbye to those safety nets. The bill eliminates economic hardship and unemployment deferments for new loans. And forbearances, you're now limited to just 9 months over any 2-year period. And if you thought those changes were wild, the way the government is redefining who gets loan forgiveness will blow your mind. Stick around for that. This bill is also shaking up the Public Service Loan Forgiveness, or PSLF program. This program has helped over 1 million public servants, teachers, nurses, firefighters, get their federal loans forgiven after 10 years of payments. But President Trump has ordered big changes. The administration now says it wants to kick out organizations involved in illegal activities. What's illegal, according to them? Organizations that help undocumented immigrants, hospitals giving gender-affirming care to minors, public schools with diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, or DEI programs, cities with sanctuary policies. The scary part is the education secretary gets sole authority to decide if an organization is illegal and loses eligibility even without a court conviction. Critics are screaming that this is a direct tool for political punishment. This move could qualify entire hospital systems or state governments, forcing thousands of public workers to either change jobs or lose their shot at forgiveness. This could lead to staffing shortages in critical roles like healthcare and education, pushing professionals away from public service careers. Trust in the program is already shaky, and this just makes it worse. On the flip side, the bill does try to hold colleges accountable. Federal aid will now be tied to what graduates earn. If an undergraduate program's graduates make less than the average high school graduate in their state, that program could lose access to federal loans. Graduate programs face similar penalties if their graduates earn less than the average bachelor's degree holder in their field. This is a new gainful employment rule that applies to all colleges, not just for-profit schools. And don't forget, wealthy private universities are getting hit with a new tiered federal tax on their massive savings accounts, as high as 8% for the richest schools. For schools like Harvard, with over $2.9 million per student in their endowment, that's a direct hit on their $53 billion in savings. Some Pell Grant rules are changing too. If you have a full scholarship, you might lose Pell eligibility, and the grant is expanding to include short-term job training programs. Now, you might be wondering, what does all this mean for your wallet and your future? The biggest kicker is coming right at the end. So, what's the real takeaway here? Your student loan journey is about to get a lot tougher and a lot longer. You'll be paying more in interest, relying more on private lenders with fewer protections, and facing stricter rules for help if you run into financial trouble. For public servants, the future of loan forgiveness is uncertain, tied to political wimps. This is akin to indentured servitude for many low-income borrowers, keeping them tied to debt for decades. And colleges are going to be under immense pressure to prove their worth or risk losing federal aid. It could also mean less access to higher education for many Americans, especially low-income students who can't qualify for private loans. Now for that major detail I promised you, this is huge and could cost you a fortune if you're not ready. The Big Beautiful Bill does not extend the tax-free status for forgiven student loan debt. What does that mean? Unless Congress does something else, any student loan debt forgiven after December 31st, 2025 will be taxed as income at the federal level. Yes, you heard that right. If you are counting on loan forgiveness, get ready for a potentially massive, unexpected tax bill. This is a crucial detail that many borrowers are going to miss, and it could be devastating. So, what should you do right now? Review your payment plan, understand how and when you'll switch to the new rules. Check your state taxes. Find out if your state will tax forgiven debt. Some already do. Stay informed. Keep an eye on updates from the Department of Education. Seek advice. Talk to a financial pro or tax advisor to plan for these changes. This isn't just about loans. It's about your financial future. Make sure you're prepared. If you found this information helpful, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.